Back in June 2025, a federal judge named Judge Lyman dismissed Wayfarer's lawsuit against the New York Times. The Times celebrated. They had successfully defended their reporting. At that point, they could have walked away. But in September 2025, they decided to get aggressive. They filed a brand new lawsuit in New York State Court under something called Anti-SLAPP laws. Now, SLAPP stands for Strategic Lawsuit Against Public Participation. These laws are designed to stop powerful people from filing frivolous lawsuits just to drain someone's bank account and keep them quiet. The Times looked Wayfarer in the eye and said, "Your case was so baseless that you actually owe us $150,000 in legal fees." In January 2026, they went a step further, filing for summary judgment. This is the legal equivalent of walking into a room and saying, "This is so obvious, we don't even need a trial. Just hand us the check." They thought they were taking a victory lap. Instead, they might have just strapped themselves to a hamster wheel. By filing this state case, the Times legally forced Wayfarer to respond. And boy, did they respond. They dropped a 15-page opposition that effectively detonated the media narrative that this fight was finished. But why would a 15-page document scare a titan like the New York Times? The answer lies in a single, devastating sentence buried in the paperwork. In their response, Wayfarer dropped a bombshell. They are officially appealing the original federal dismissal. This isn't a rumor. This is a formal declaration in a court of law. And here is why that one sentence makes the Times legal team very nervous. The entire anti-SLAPP case, the one where they want $150,000, is based on the idea that Wayfarer's original case was frivolous. The only proof the Times has that the case was frivolous is that Judge Lyman dismissed it. But if the Second Circuit Court of Appeals looks at that dismissal and says Judge Lyman got this wrong, the Times state case doesn't just get weaker, it evaporates. It ceases to exist. There is no plan B. Wayfarer is now asking the state court to pause everything. They're basically saying, why should a state judge spend time and taxpayer money ruling on a $150,000 check that might not even be legal in 2 months? It's a logical checkmate that creates a massive headache for the Times. If the case was dismissed, how can they possibly win an appeal? Well, it turns out the original judge might have made some textbook mistakes that even a law student could spot. Did the judge play favorites with Blake Lively? When a judge looks at a motion to dismiss, there is a very strict rule they have to follow. They must assume the plaintiff, Wayfarer, is telling the truth. They aren't supposed to weigh evidence or decide who is more believable yet. They just have to ask, if everything Wayfarer says is true, do they have a case? According to the appeal, Judge Lyman didn't do that. Instead of treating Wayfarer's allegations as fact, the filing claims he fast-forwarded straight to the end and accepted Blake Lively's version of events as the established reality. The appeal alleges that the judge took cherry-picked evidence provided by Lively's team to the Times and treated it like gospel, while dismissing Wayfarer's claims as optional. In the legal world, this is called reversible error. It's like a referee calling a foul based on what a player's mom told him at halftime instead of what actually happened on the court. On top of that, there's the issue of actual malice. In defamation law, you have to prove the publisher either knew the info was false or didn't care enough to check. Wayfarer says they alleged this clearly, and the judge simply ignored it. If the case is this strong, why did TMZ tell us the deadline to appeal had already passed? Was the world's biggest gossip site wrong? We've all seen it. A breaking news headline from TMZ that spreads across the internet like wildfire. When Judge Lyman first dismissed the case, TMZ reported that Wayfarer had missed their window to appeal.
Done.
Finished. The clock ran out, they said. Every other major publication copied the homework and ran the same story. It was 100% false. Harvey Levin, the head of TMZ and a licensed attorney, let his outlet tell the world the deadline passed when it hadn't even started. Judge Lyman eventually had to clarify in writing that the window was still open. The beehive has been kicked. In August 2024, Wayfarer's Steve Sarowitz said he was prepared to be in litigation for years. People thought he was just a billionaire talking big. After seeing this latest filing, it's clear he wasn't joking. He has a plan, and he is executing it with surgical precision. The New York Times could have had a quiet victory. Instead, they kicked the beehive. They legally forced a public declaration of an appeal that might just reinstate the very defamation claims they were trying to bury. Do you think the Second Circuit will see these textbook errors and let the case move forward, or is this just a desperate Hail Mary from Wayfarer? Is the media's rush to declare a winner in the Baldoni versus Lively drama making them blind to the legal reality? Drop a comment below and let's discuss. If you found this breakdown helpful, share this article